What's up, y'all? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV with my co-host, Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
And our special guest, comedic actress. Would that be right? Kind of right? You had me laughing.
Comedian, actress, comedic actress. You could. It's all
Superstar.
Oh gosh.
Miss Megan Sousa?
Question mark? Yes.
Okay.
I love this. Yes, Megan Sousa.
Yeah, man. I felt myself butchering it. I thought from the moment that I start reading your name, I was like, okay, you're gonna ask before you do it. My business partner has one of those names where, like, man, 1 out of about 15 people will get it right. And so he does. Yeah, he just goes by his nickname because it's just like they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it.
And sometimes nicknames help. Some people call me Seuss the Deuce. That was one of my nicknames at one point. Seuss. Sauce. Seuss. You just gotta pick your poison in that case. If you want to struggle with Sousa, or you could just say one of the other ones.
Yeah, I was gonna name you or call you with the pronunciation similar to one of my favorite Puerto Rican Cuban spices, Sazon. Anyway,
wow.
Yeah.
Sazon.
Yeah,
what? I'll let you have that. I'm gonna let you have that because I haven't heard that one yet. So I'm gonna add that one to the list. So you can have that. I'm gonna give that to you. That's special.
But I was actually better than that because I asked.
What?
No, I asked.
Did.
Yeah, I asked. So
No, you absolutely did. No, I appreciate it. This is all a learning process for everybody. So this is great.
Tight.
And a lot of people don't ask, so I appreciate you for asking. That's
tight. So basically with the podcast, we're definitely gonna leave hip hop, but I always feel like I gotta squeeze a little bit into it. So that's kind of like from the beginning. So the question, and then I'm dating myself, but the question that I ask everybody, where were you the first time you heard hip hop and what was the song that was playing?
Oh, shoot. Okay. We doing that today? Okay, let me think. This is interesting because, I know I grew up listening to in the ambiance. My sister would listen to hip hop. I was listening to pop. So mine's the hip and the hop, just pop. But she was listening to all those things. Now, straight to my mind, it makes me think about like Quad City DJs.
Was that
okay?
So like Quad City DJs, Mystical,
booty music.
What? Jeremy?
I don't know what that is. Quad City DJs.
Booty music, man.
Booty music.
Christmas Day, the birth of Christ, no doubt. That's what it's all about. Let me hear stop and beat for a sec. Show some respect. Santa Claus, what's up with you? Tell K9 what you gonna do. With no ifs, ands, no buts. Gone and tell my stock it up. Help me out if you can. What? Y'all never heard Quad City?
No, that's
hey, I knew what it was.
Yeah, come on, ride that train. Oh, that. Come on, ride that train. Come ride it.
If you feel like dancing, then come on.
I've never heard that outside of a skating rink ever.
Bruh, it's real. It exists.
Oh, that was the party. That was a party jam, man. That was to set it off.
That's hilarious.
I think about like that, Tupac, just like all the things that were in the ambiance. But when I started choosing to listen to it, it started with Luda.
Luda, okay.
Luda and Mystical. Those were like my and Lil Wayne.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
When did you first?
Is that good? Is that fair?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I feel like there's some scrutiny coming along.
Right? No, it was actually more than what I thought we were going to get because I had another conversation with Jeremy, and he had told me a little bit about some of your musical taste or whatever. So I definitely got more.
Oh Lord. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's get it.
When did you first realize you had a passion for comedy?
Ooh, probably as a youngin, I would say around the In Living Color era.
Oh,
Um,
right.
yeah, I was glued to the screen. All the sitcoms that came on, my mom recorded them, so I will always we didn't have YouTube back then, so that's how I would rewatch it, was on what she recorded. So I realized then how I gravitated towards it, imitating them and all their characters. It just felt so second nature. But I didn't have the courage to pursue it um, until my 20s. So yeah, it was something I was just like really scared of. Like I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of and like express it somehow. So like you were saying earlier, like comedic actress, it's like, oh, I can see comedic actors, but I never thought improv, stand up, sketch. Like I was scared in a way, like I can't do that. Like I'm not funny, da da da. But you realize once you get into it and the more you stretch and explore and play, you kind of find your voice. But yeah, it's ever since a young age. I used to impersonate Jim Carrey, Fire Marshal Bill.
You know, it's interesting.
That was my shit. Fire Marshal Bill, all those characters, Jamie Foxx, all those characters, I just like glued to the screen. You know what I mean?
It's interesting you said that because my buddies, they worked with some of the guys that choreographed for In Living Color, so I had a chance to go on the set one time, and the two people that stuck out to me, and they were hella cool, but like our interaction was very basic, but like Jim Carrey and David Allen Greer, they were in character before they shot the scene. And so they're like walking down the hall and Jim Carrey's walking down and I can't remember the sketch that he was going to do, but as he walked down the hall where kind of like where the green room was to go to where the set was, he was in character. And then when David Allen Greer went to do a sketch, like he was in character. And I thought that was really amazing that it wasn't like they were just actors or comedians, and then then it was like, okay, they started shooting and then they went into character. These guys were literally into that character 5 to 10 minutes before everything started rolling, and it was just amazing the way they were able to pull it off.
I got to work with David Allen Greer in Atlanta actually, and I got to see a taste of that, and it was, man, it's so infectious because I was in tears, like real tears, because I just told you where my start came from, was In Living Color. That is like my first real memory of being drawn into comedy like that. I was in actual real tears and comedic, like laughing tears, watching him. Like it was crazy. And just like you said, like completely in character. And when he dropped it, it was just like, David, it was kind of like, like what? Like you kind of go, oh shit, like it's David Allen Greer. But when he's in character, you're just like, I mean, I felt like, that little girl watching TV, like watching him growing up. Like it's incredible, how some artists have that gift to just drop in like that. So that's all I hope to stand close to them one day. Just at that level, you know what I mean?
Two things I'll say to you, since you are an actress. So one, I had the pleasure of working on a project, not industry related, but something totally separate with Keith David, like years ago. And he was in New York, and we were working on something together, and I called him, and he was like going over his lines, and it was interesting. Like while I called him, but he said, I got to take this call with you, because if I don't take it now, it's just not going to happen. And he said to me that, it's horrible when Black people show up on set and they don't know their lines. So he's like, man, I'll make sure that I know. And he's a seasoned actor, you know what I'm saying? Like very seasoned. And to see him going over his lines like that, it gave me so much respect for his craft, because it is a craft. It's not just something that happens by accident. And then I ended up getting to know someone who's in a lot of Netflix stuff. He's like in a lot of Netflix stuff. And his roles wouldn't give him that much time. But when he had that role, he would murder it. And when he would come to LA, we'd hang out, but I'd talk to him, but he'd really study his lines, man. Like he really, and when I say really study his lines, let's just say if he was gonna shoot, let's say on a Friday and it was on a Monday, he was on his lines on Monday. You know what I'm saying? He was just really there. So where did you go to junior high school?
Junior high?
Yep.
I went to junior high in this little town called Lincoln, Alabama. And I went to Lincoln Elementary School.
Wow.
Okay.
Junior high. Wait, elementary. Junior high was Charles R. Drew Middle School in Lincoln, Alabama.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Quick question before we go to the next question.
Okay.
What is your ethnicity?
Yes. So my father is Portuguese, immigrant, and my mother is Choctaw Native American and African American descent. Okay.
Because actually, when I saw your last name, it reminded me of a Brazilian last name. And Brazil, you know, there's a lot of Portuguese people in Brazil. So, and the reason why I asked, when you said you went to school in Alabama, I'm like, well, okay, she's got this name Sousa. She's in.
It is a lot of question marks. Yes. So in a nutshell, my dad's side of the family immigrated to the Northeast. So hence why I was born up north. My mom's, the Black native side, are from the South. So from Alabama and southern states. They met in the Northeast. My mom's side of the family had moved up north at one point, and they met there right around the time my dad was like, just joined the military. And so, long story short, my mom relocated us to Alabama when my grandfather passed away. So I was pretty young, so I don't remember most of this. But during that time, I would split the year with my parents. So I spent, the school year with my mom, summers and holidays with my dad.
Okay.
So so they would split the year. They had joint custody. So half my life was in this small town, Alabama. I graduated with a class of, I think, 45. And then there's the other side in Connecticut, where I've got, if people would be so shocked to know this, but yeah, I'm a real small town. But anyway, on my dad's side, in Connecticut, it's, a relatively small, but a actual city. Lincoln was more of like, just basically barely making the qualification to be a city. Now they're more thriving. Honda plant came in and brought more jobs and stuff. Now there's more people there, but over obviously time. But yeah, so I had that split life, if that makes sense.
What was the poppin' music in Alabama?
Well, I just told you one of them classic DJs while you trying to play. Everything that you can think of.
Tell us about the popular music, because you said you were hip hop was like not really your thing, but you thought it was cool. What were some of the popular artists you were into?
Well, what was I say? Dang, yeah, like junior high, I remember listening to, this is going to sound so crazy. I remember listening to Hanson at one point. I really loved Hanson. It's bad. Christina Aguilera, Britney
very
Spears.
Popular.
Jeremy, you already know Britney Spears is my jam because I have a whole stand-up bit about Britney. But
you like everything Eminem hated.
Yeah.
But wait, but then I started liking Eminem. I like would listen to a lot of R&B, obviously like Whitney Houston. Like my mom listened to jazz music and like soulful R&B. So like Sade and like stuff like that. But my sister listened to like rap and hip hop. My mom didn't really. So, you know, there was like vibes. And then my grandma listened to gospel. And then I was listening to NSYNC and Seal. Talking about kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, you know I get you. You know, it's like five different club rooms in the house. You know, you got TD Jakes in one room, you got Mystical in the other room, you got Kenny G in one room, and then Britney Spears over here. So it was
hey. That's funny.
So while you were in high school, what did you think your path was going to be when you graduated?
That's a great question. I remember having a very specific moment in the 6th grade. I think I was in the 6th or 7th grade. And we had some project or something we had to do where we had to like write out these career things. I wrote down, everyone's like, what is the one thing you want to be? I listed things. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a fire person. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a scientist. I wanted to be everything. I wrote like 8 things. Once I got to middle school, I remember thinking, oh, I was in the 7th grade. And me, shout out Jamarcus Caldwell, one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. We were in the 7th grade, and I remember we both were like, we want to be psychologists. And I was like, yeah, I love the brain. Like, I want to study the brain and da 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 da. And then I really battled with being a veterinarian. I really wanted to be a vet. Then around high school, I started really gravitating towards the medical field. Okay, I'll be a nurse. You know, the medical field, you know, a lot of people in my family, military. Okay, I'll go to the Air Force and I'll be in the medical field. And I really did love it because I love the sciences and I really do love the brain. I love, you know, psychology. I love the way people think. All of those things are still very true. You know, I would love to be of service to people. I do to some degree want to do those things. But I think it was really a sign that I wanted to be a performer and be able to play these roles, maybe. I don't know, projecting. But before I was thinking these things, when I was very young, I've always wanted to be a performer. Always wanted to be an actress. Always did voiceover stuff, always. At one point, I wanted to be a backup dancer. I just wanted to be a dancer, a professional dancer. Like, I wanted to do background dancing for Usher, Britney Spears, like, so my mind was always like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. But it wasn't until, you know, high school that I like finally cranked down. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a nurse. I'll do that. I'll join the military. I'll travel a little bit. Then I'll start acting. And it wasn't until my sophomore year in college. Yeah, going into actually it was like my junior year almost, where I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I was scared as hell. So I was like, I think I'm going to do it. Am I going to go to acting school? Am I going to go to performing arts? Like, am I going to get my master's in this? I don't know. Okay, let me just go there and figure it out. And that's what happened. Came here with $200 and a car. And I was like, what up, LA? We gonna figure it out.
You enrolled in Flappers University.
Hey, man. First of all, for the record, I never enrolled in Flappers University, although I thought it would be a good idea. Maybe I'll learn something, but I never did. I feel like the university was working there, you know, like working the ticket booth. Like, I learned everything that I needed to know on the clock.
Yeah. Flappers is a comedy club in Burbank. He's lost. That's actually where we met at.
Oh, okay.
He used to work there very briefly. So
that was the beginning of an era, though.
Tell us about Cornbread Kitchen.
Yes, Cornbread Kitchen is my sketch team baby. We are an all-Black sketch and improv team. We started out at UCLA. not true. UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade. And, you know, prior to the pandemic, we were producing a regular show for about 3 years, once a month. And, you know, it became a vibe. It became its own culture, you know, so obviously so different from stand-up, you know, similar, you know, when you find jokes, but obviously very different. You're in costume and all this stuff. But it was great because we would bring in comedians to come open for us, and, you know, bring in other acts to do improv or sketch, and we had a DJ, so it was a whole vibe.
I mean,
so yeah, you know,
as far as I'm concerned, Cornbread Kitchen was one of the hottest improv groups but that's just me, my opinion, in LA. I was just like, I mean, I do agree with it was a vibe. I mean, you know, I feel like y'all had a rotating cast, but everybody who was a part of it was like interesting in their own way.
Yeah, man. If, you know, we over time it became, you know, almost completely Black, with the exception of Anika, but she's our ally. But it's, you know, we had Hispanic, we had different types of people at first, but it became more Black, and then we felt like in living color, and Anika was our female Jim Carrey. So we found this natural chemistry that, you know, I don't think it's just hard to like find that or pay for that. You just can't. So the way that it happened, you know, we knew that we were into something special and working on something special. So we just stuck to the grind, you know. We produced probably 40 to 50 sketches. I think we calculated in half, over at least 100 sketches in the vault that haven't been produced. So, you know, we had a well-oiled machine, you know, prior to the pandemic, but obviously, you know, we had to take a little break. So now that things are kind of opening back up, it's like, okay, what's the next chapter? What do we do? And
more Cornbread Kitchen? What?
Huh?
I said more Cornbread Kitchen? What?
Hey, man, we trying to see what's next. We trying to see what's going to be next. You know, what it looks like what we're going to do.
I think it's a good,
we have some feature films. Too. Yeah, I love our brand. You know, we have feature film ideas. Like, it's just a lot of things under the brand that we're still looking to explore, if that makes sense.
You know, it's interesting, and I've told this story on the podcast about 20 times because my family's from Mississippi, and we make good barbecue and tell great stories. that's what we do. But it's funny because Jeremy, and I'll tell the abbreviated version, but he says that he knows people, and he'd be like, yeah, man, I know them. Or if we have a guest, he's like, yeah, no, that's my homeboy, my homegirl. Yeah, I know him. But the funny thing, he really knows them. I mean,
Jeremy have always known everybody. I've always considered Jeremy like that person who, you know, obviously he's visible, but he acts like he's invisible, and behind the scenes, like he's just that guy who knows everybody. So I never doubt if Jeremy says he knows somebody. I'm like, he's not capping, because I know people in LA who cap, and you know, Jeremy, especially in the comedy world, if you say you know somebody, they're gonna call that person.
Yep.
And be like, hey, yo. Oh, for real? You good, let's go. Like, that happened to me.
Really?
Yes. Shout out Marshall Brandon and shout out Donnell Rawlings, because Marshall Brandon was about to put me up at the Funny Bone. And I hit him up and was like, yo, you know, Donnell's my people. And I'm just like name dropping like a motherfucker, so he don't think I'm like trash. You know, like, obviously, you know me, like, I don't really put my stand-up online. Like, I have a couple things, but I'm so about my shit. Like, I just go like, come see me live, like, whatever. Yeah. But when I need to book, I'll send them links, right? So anyway, I sent the links and he's like, oh, okay. He's like vouching or whatever. I didn't know. He put me on the show. After we kicked, he's like, yo, you from Connecticut? Like, what's poppin'? So obviously we like clicked up, because he's like, I didn't know you were actually from Hartford. Like he lives in Hartford, you know, so it was like a whole thing. He was like, yeah, I called Donnell. And I was like, you what? And he was like, I called. I didn't know him and Donnell were like this. So had I been capping, I'd have been looking really stupid.
Yeah.
But, you know, him and Donnell are like this. And he called Donnell and was like, yo, she good? And he was like, yeah, she good. He was like, all right. And he was like, good. And I was like, people really do that? Because, you know, people make calls, man. Don't be lying out here on yourself, okay?
And for those who don't know, she's talking about Ashley Larry. You know what I'm saying?
AKA Ashley Larry.
Yeah, AKA Ashley Larry.
Hey, man, you never know. Sometimes people do, you know, do research and do that thing. So
yeah.
Listen, I don't like to name drop, but if it happens, it's like, okay, it's for a purpose or, you know, reference.
Yeah.
You know you're not gonna get played off if you drop the name, basically.
I'm not gonna drop it if I can't back it up. That's the thing. Because I've been in an interview where someone's like, yeah, tell me about you and Dave Chappelle. I was like, first of all, for the record, I don't know Dave Chappelle like that, okay? Don't try to put me out there like that. I don't know Dave Chappelle on a personal level, like we've exchanged contact, we go have coffees on Saturdays. No. I've met him through Donnell. I've met him a few times out on the scene. He knows me when I see him, like we say hi, like he's very nice and cordial with me, but man, Dave Chappelle ain't homies like that. Like, I'm not even gonna try to portray that. You know what I mean? So, but some people will cap. I don't play them games. No, I'm gonna be completely transparent. Like, no, if I see him, he'll be like, yes, I remember you. Does that make sense? Because I've interacted with him enough, but I'm not gonna sit here and cap and be like, he's my bestie.
They were like, hey, do you know Megan? It's like, Megan? I know tons of Megans.
I'm not about to be out here looking crazy, okay? But anyway.
So when was your first time doing stand-up and where? How did it go?
Oh, okay. First time doing stand-up was January 30 or 29, somewhere around there. 2016. Yeah. That was my first stand-up show. My first time doing stand-up open mic was the previous year, 2015, around August, September-ish. Now, my first open mics, they were horrifying. Probably more for me than for everybody else. This is horrifying. Like, I could just feel my heart beating slow. And I'm just like... 3 minutes, huh? How much time I got? She's like, 3 minutes. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get through this. It's like time went so slow. My first show, it was at this spot. I can't remember the name of this place. It was like in WeHo on like Fairfax, maybe somewhere random on Sunset. The show went really good. I was very surprised. I remember riding there on a bike and it started raining. I got there and I was completely soaked and I was in the bathroom, like drying off. And she was like, you're on deck. And I was like, wow. And I met Brooklyn Jones there. Shout out Brooklyn Jones. I met Brooklyn there. And she was like, yeah, I just moved out here to LA. My name's Brooklyn. And she gave me her card. I was like, that's sad. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm not ready for this shit. Like, but I went up there and I remember I was wearing penny loafers. Like I was still kind of damp from the ride. And I went up there and I just kind of expressed myself with what just happened. Riding that damn bike in the rain, you know, like having a memory of my grandmother saying I was going to catch cold. And I shouldn't even complete a sentence. You say catch a cold, you going to catch cold. Anyway, and I just like went on this little rant about my grandmother, you know, and then went into a couple of jokes that I had written. I was to date, I still have that set on video. And to date, to me, I felt like that was one of my best sets because I just jumped out there with the courage just to go do it. And I went against what I planned, not knowing that that was the right thing to do.
Right.
And in that moment, right? Because sometimes it's not what's the right thing to do. But in that moment it was. But I was so comfortable that I was shocked. I really was shocked for my first show. Now thereafter, very rocky. Up and down, round and round. But my first show, I was so proud of myself. And I would still look at that set and be like, that was not bad. That was not bad for a first set like having no idea, not taking no classes or nothing. I felt good about it. So yeah, 2016 was my first official show.
What's the best advice you've been given?
Probably Dwayne Wayans.
Okay.
He was working out at Flappers for a little bit, and he would drop in at the Yoo-Hoo room. I was over there, and you know, Dave come over there. Donnell, Jesus, not Dave. Oh my God, Dwayne. Too many D's. Dwayne Wayans is coming tonight, and he's gonna drop in or whatever. And I was like, bet. So he came in. You know, we have to offer comics water. Of course, he doesn't want it. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. You know, minding my business, doing minding the business that's paying me. He's, you know, talking to comics and, you know, doing his thing, all these comics coming up to him. He goes in, he works out. And this was in my open mic stages, so I was still very nervous about doing open mics. So he came back and he didn't say anything that night. He came the next week, same time, every Tuesday he was coming. He came the next week, same thing. I offered water, he didn't want it. He went in, he came out, or he didn't do his set yet. He came up to me, he goes, "Yo, shorty, what's your deal? Why you not on stage?" And I was like, so here's the deal. I'm scared as fuck. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an actor. And like, just going in. We had this great conversation about, you know, just having fun, exploring, And of course, Dave, "Hey man, can you come get some bullshit in the back that you've never done before?" And I was like, sure. So it like cut me out of the conversation. I'm like, I've never done that before, but okay. So it like broke me out of the conversation. And I was just like, fuck. But he told me that he would come see me do an open mic. And I was like, I don't think he's telling the truth. The next week he did, because they did a mic after that, the Yoo-Hoo room. Mm-hmm. He did. And he was like, "Are you going to do it?" And I was like, "Of course I am." And I'm like writing some stuff on a little napkin. We go to the bar mic. For some reason, nobody was there. You know how it be. There was nobody there that night. Mm-hmm. Whoever was hosting, there was one comic that was up, the bartender, and my homie Jahan, Mr. Wayans, and myself. I put my name on the list, but it's nobody here. I get up there, I do a little bit, 3 minutes. I come off. He pulled me like towards the front, like exiting. And we had this little convo, and he said, and I'll never forget that. He was just saying, every time you go on stage, have a goal. He said, like an actor. Mm-hmm. In your scenes, you have a goal, On stage, do the same thing. Yep. Tonight, my goal is crowd work. Tonight, my goal will do a whole set sitting down. Yep. Tonight, my goal will be working the right side. Tonight, I'm gonna stand up the whole time. Like that clicked for some reason. And he was saying to add more details, the funnier it is. And then he went back over my story. Because I told a story about my friend getting he got a ticket on riding a bicycle for driving too slow. Mm-hmm. So he was saying like, adding in like these fill in the blank details. Mm-hmm. That stuck with me, and I was able to approach it like that. Like if I didn't have a perfect night on set, I would look at it like, okay, I tried something. That was my goal. And I learned, I tried something, it works. I tried something, not so great. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that advice really stuck with me through all the years. Yeah.
Okay. Nah, that's dope. That's real. I love to hear those stories because the thing about it, in order for someone who's seasoned to really care enough to give you some game, there's something special in a person because even with me, like I've had people that have been successful in business, and they've allowed me to ask them questions, and then they've given me advice on how they can kind of see how I get down, and they're like, well, oh, you should try this. And the thing about it is, for every person that they are willing to give the advice to, there's millions of people that they wouldn't even waste the time, because they'd be like, man, I know this isn't going to resonate. Like this would probably be a wasted conversation or whatever. So that's dope that someone took their time to say, you know what, I'm just going to give them some direction, is what it's called. Because he didn't tell you what to do, so per se, but it was like, okay, you're warm, but here's some seasoning.
Yes. I'm telling you, I was so shocked that he stayed. And I mean, it was like the comedy Moses, who parted the Red Sea of open mics. Nobody was there. I couldn't believe it. It was literally a private mic for him and my friend Jahan. It was just us and the bartender. So when I look back at stuff like that, even when it happens, I'll be like, oh my God, that was so crazy. But when I really look back at it, it's like, yeah, it was just meant to be. And it was so, I was just astonished that he stayed and was willing to like just chop it up with a young comic coming up. And he was talking to my friend, and obviously they had some things in common because he's an executive. So they had some things in common. So he knew I wasn't no bum. That's on that, even though my comedy journey was young, I was already on my acting game prior to that. You know what I mean? So I'd already had about 5-6 years on doing comedy before I stepped into doing that. Doing acting before I stepped into doing comedy. Right. And so, it's kind of like, they go like this, you know what I'm saying? And so obviously one sometimes will influence the other and sometimes not. But yeah, it was just a strong feeling like, damn, I can't believe he stayed, because here I am crawling out. And oh yeah, another thing he was saying too was, he was saying, when you start doing stand-up, it's like learning to speak. First you learn the alphabet, then you learn to spell a word, then you put a sentence together, then a paragraph, and then a full story. So yeah, it was like, he kind of like gave me that, like that mental visual that you kind of need. I think some people, I'm like a visual learner. But anyway, shout out to the Wayans, man. They, obviously we know what it is, man. They paved the way and just kicked the damn door down in so many ways. So that have always stood out to me. Yeah,
absolutely. And those who don't know who Dwayne Wayans is, he has a lot of great credits. I personally like the movie Dance Flick. He wrote that. He also was a writer of Little Man and everything. But Dance Flick, the reason why I liked it, because basically the Wayans kind of pioneered that whole parody genre, and they touched on everything at that point. And when they made the Scary Movie franchise, because the big wigs at the studio knew how much money they could make off the idea and the concept, they basically kind of finagled the show, the parody concept, away from the Wayans. And they started doing crazy stuff. They did Epic Movie and all type of stupid movies or whatever, but it was never as good as what the Wayans would do. I mean, from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker to, they are the kings of parody, period, right?
So right. To catch everybody up, including myself, when you're saying Wayans, you're talking about Keenan.
The whole family. But
I'm saying that he is part of this whole cast.
Dwayne Wayans, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so he's a brother. He's one of the brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yeah, he pretty much, Dance Flick was like his standout, like on his own, or maybe it was Little Man, but I think it was Dance Flick. Dance Flick was the movie that he wrote. And because he even makes a joke about it in the movie, like, yeah, I wrote this, like, but Dance Flick was proof that the Wayans formula works way better than what Hollywood could do, because they took once again a boring concept like dance movies, which you got but Save the Last Dance and was it You Got Served and that whole genre, and they woke it up. And anyway, he's an excellent writer and a perfect mentor for anybody who's starting stand up.
So Major Pain, like the list goes on. It just,
that was hilarious.
It's just, anyways, I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, no. That's cool. So transitioning from the comedy, you decide you're going to go into this acting thing. My question to you is, what was your pathway, and like, how did you find out about auditions? Did you have an agent? Did you what did you do? Did word of mouth? How did you get into acting from the comedy part?
It's actually the other way around. So I started in acting and then transitioned to comedy.
Okay.
So to answer your question, when I was younger, I did do theater. One of my aunts worked in like marketing, so I would do commercials here and there. My mom kind of had me doing like modeling stuff when I was like 13, which I didn't like. I didn't want to do modeling stuff. But I did love performing. So once I decided in college that this is what I was gonna do, actually did a couple music videos at first. And it was just kind of like this feeling of like being on set. I only did a couple, okay? But they weren't anything crazy. Like, obviously, I'm very modest. Modest-ish. Ish. But then I was very modest. So, like, yeah, it was nothing crazy. So, yeah. So my first project that I worked on was in Atlanta. I don't remember how I found out about it. I feel like it was through people in the music video world. And, you know, they were like, hey, can you come do this thing? And it was just a background role. Literally, it's a background role. I think I had one line. And it was like across the camera kind of thing. Like, I don't even think they focused on my face at all. And so I did that project. It was like a one-day thing for me, a couple hours, I was done. Did that project. I later moved to LA, probably within a year or so. But before I moved, I randomly Googled my name just out of curiosity. And this was when it wasn't normal to see details about yourself when you Google yourself. It was like when it was like, oh my God, my name's online. It was like that. And I had a credit for that movie. And I was like, I have an IMDb credit. I'm an actor. I'm an actor. Like, I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. And so from that point on, that has been my, like, I got to get another credit on IMDb. I got to get, like, however that happens, I got to keep getting credits on IMDb. So by the time I moved to LA, my first gig was doing makeup. So I was doing makeup as like a trade. So a skill that I could make money on if I needed some quick cash, connects. I could work on set, these things. One of my classmates from Tuskegee, Clary Clark, and Ian Evans were two of my first contacts when I came to LA. Both of them also Tuskegee grads. Cleary, however, was getting his MFA at USC. So I hit him up when I got here, like, yo, you know, I'm in town, whatnot. That week, he was like, hey, you want to work? Yes. Come to set. Cool. I'm doing makeup though. Okay. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm on set. This is great. Obviously, I want to be in the chair, but I'm doing your makeup, you know? So that was my start. From there, you know, I don't want to say lucky.
Would you say that was?
What was?
What you were doing before you said you wanted to actually like be the actor, so.
Oh, I was saying I was doing makeup on that set. And what was
the set?
It was a USC thesis film called Battle Buddy. Shout out Shaniqua Shande coming up in the game, and shout out Seb Ohanian, who's one of Hollywood's biggest producers right now. So if you don't know, now you know. Yeah, so Seb was producing that, and he's Ryan Coogler's producing partner. So that was my introduction to a lot of these kiddos coming out of USC, which to this date, you know, I have a strong connection with USC students and alums. So anywho, this was the beginning, and it started with Cleary Clark. And I myself thought I was going to go to USC for acting, but obviously student loans and all that stuff. So I learned by doing. I got in where I fit in, and it started there, just like doing makeup. One thing led to the next, just meeting people from that USC group. They knew I was an up and coming actress. It did start with word of mouth. Then I did just start submitting myself to things. A lot of my work came from word of mouth, either from someone working with me or seeing me, asking me to audition. I book it, do it. Then the end product would then get me to the next step. If that was like getting a manager or agent. So yeah, it was a combination of like me creating my own work, submitting myself to things, which eventually landed a manager, agent, eventually landing, So everything was very gradual. Nothing happened like that at all. So
we got a couple of questions from the comment section.
Okay. Hey,
yeah.
comments.
Um,
I hope they're nice things.
Oh no, they're saying amazing things.
Okay, good, because
no haters here. We don't have any.
Okay, good.
Who's the actress that inspires you?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm just gonna show you right now. Well, here's one. Okay.
You gonna bring them?
None other
EGOT.
than Miss Whoopi.
She has one of the most decorated people of our time. Period. So
obviously Whoopi.
Not even black, not a woman, not nothing. She's one of the most decorated artists of all time. Period.
And she's. I can't explain the way Whoopi makes me feel because she broke so many standards. Yeah, and barriers, and still, and just her level and body of work, and the fact that she did everything that I want to do: stand up, acting, singing, Broadway, voiceover, animation. She's done everything that I aspire and want to do. She have done it, and it's a very short span of time, but like obviously there's no one like Whoopi. So I hope that I can carve out that for myself, but obviously there are other actors in there too. Okay. Meryl Streep,
that's another good one. Wow.
Top. Susan Sarandon, Viola Davis, Betty Davis, taking it back to the old school actresses. There's so many, Halle, obviously there's so many actors and actresses, Denzel. There's a lot. There's a lot of the old school. There's a lot, but obviously Whoopi is my girl.
And that's a book? Girl. What book is that?
This is a book. Whoopi Goldberg book. Literally called Whoopi Goldberg book.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for a title. It's called a Whoopi Goldberg book.
It's literally called I was trying to show you the cover page. It's literally called Whoopi Goldberg book.
Hey man, that's branding right there.
Listen, she's that one, man. And her look, everything about her, like her style, the movies that she was in, and the accolades,
I ain't gonna lie. I was having this conversation with, comics have like these debates and stuff, and somebody was saying I like Tiffany. It's we never really had a female Eddie Murphy. I said, what do you mean by that? That just had like a female comedian that had these certain accolades that we put in. I was like, well, debatably, we've had better. I said, Whoopi Goldberg, y'all not sleeping, man. Whoopi Goldberg in her prime, man. I mean, there was nothing she didn't touch.
And she was bad in her prime too.
Yeah,
they don't want to give her that, but she was an attractive woman when she was really young.
Beautiful.
She was pulling directors. That's the thing,
bro.
She was marrying and divorcing directors.
Jeremy, but what you're saying is so right, because she, people don't talk about her enough.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't talk about her enough. Like, in my opinion.
Weird. No, you're right. It was weird. Like, people don't know their history. I'm just like to even say that was like, I tried to be too, but it just felt really ignorant. It was just like, what are you saying? Like, what are you really trying to say?
People have to do their research, and sometimes I don't know. And that conversation probably was their educational moment, But shout out to Whoopi Goldberg. We love you, and we will always give you flowers over here, honey. Always.
Definitely.
So one thing real quick I want to say to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met Megan before, but I've gotten to know her a little bit before the podcast, as well as I've been educated during the podcast. This is something I'm gonna tell you, Megan. You have to be patient. Everyone's not gonna be where you are with the knowledge, and you too, Jeremy. And that's what happens. You guys.
I just said that. I said it's a learning moment.
I just noticed. No, I noticed something with both of you guys. Both of you guys are kind of witty comedians. Like you're witty. So you're like you have it a little bit before. Like I'm kind of the person that doesn't really get it in the class, and that's why I gotta speak up for the other people that may not get it. You guys just get Whoopi Goldberg, and then me being kind of older, I saw her pathway, like how she came in, and then in her credits, and then from the super comedy, like super hardcore comedy, to becoming an actress, and then moving on up and everything. Other people may not see it as that. They're looking at Whoopi Goldberg right now on The View, Moo-Moos, Birkenstocks.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right, because she's been around for so long. So it's kind of like, at what point were you introduced? You're absolutely right. So listen,
and this is just
I do try to be educational, but I do also be very shocked when people don't know about certain iconic.
Man, I'm like, you was alive. You should know, man. It was a movement. I mean, Color Purple.
Jeremy, don't go eat.
It was a movement. I mean, from Eddie to what's the movie where Will Smith and what's it? This is American, something like that. Her and Ted Danson. I mean, come on. She was
wait,
it's a movie
Eddie Murphy, Ted
where
Danson?
her and Ted Danson was like, they was like divorcees or something like that. And, Will Smith and Nia Long was in it. Like Whoopi probably got. I mean, she probably up there for most movies. Period. like actress with most movies.
Whoopi holding that title, that's something to be said.
Yeah, she's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony Award.
That's something to be said, man. Shout out to Whoopi Goldberg.
Which is at least the next thing. Would you do Broadway? You kind of answered a little bit, but that was the next question at the conversation.
Absolutely. Again, it's like another one of my dreams, to perform on Broadway at some point. I feel like, Cornbread Kitchen kind of prepared me. I think I'm joking, for Broadway, because we felt like a moving circus car. Like, we have wigs and costumes and fake money and all this stuff, right? And like, we're the way we're learning these lines, the way we're churning out these changes and these tech rehearsals, it is comedic theater, right? So it's like Broadway obviously would be way more extreme, assuming, than where we were. But yeah, man, like, I love that stretch. Earlier you were saying, Greg, you were talking about the learning lines of the craft. And I'm bringing this up to talk about the stretch of the actor. As soon as I got back to Atlanta, I just finished another movie, a feature film, in 2 weeks. And if anybody knows anything about scheduling a movie, 2 weeks is not a lot of time to make a movie. So needless to say, I had to learn lines very quickly and very precisely, and obviously perform. So it was very difficult. I felt like I was like getting punched every day, like at the end of the night. Like I just felt so like tired, just like, oh God. But that stretch, you know, when you finish and you get to the end, you're just like, oh, I'm almost there. And then you make it to the end. And then you're like, man, I finished something. I completed something. It's so fulfilling and gratifying. Like I worked really hard. It's like going to the gym and you get beat up and you're sweating and you feel so bad afterwards, like tired. But then you're like, man, I feel good. You take a shower and you like feel accomplished. So in theater and in Broadway, I can assume that I would only feel that. But it's been a dream of mine to do it. I've always wanted to be on Broadway. I've always wanted to see my name in lights on Broadway. It's like every actor's dream, I think. But it is definitely on its way.
Tell us about Freddie Unplugged.
Fred Unplugged, man, y'all digging deep. All right. Is this in the comments section?
No, that's not comments.
It's from you?
This
okay,
me.
I was just curious. I'm like,
like,
okay.
I mean, people can Google you though.
I could. That's why I was like, Okay, Fred Unplugged. Fred Unplugged is a pilot that I wrote and produced. That has yet to see the light of day, but it will soon. Okay. Back to the matter at hand. It's a pilot based off of my real experiences starting stand-up comedy. Without giving it away, it also addresses social media and our dependencies on technology. I wasn't expecting the, elevator pitch, log line tonight, but thank you. That's great. I appreciate that exercise. Thank you. So yes, it's still in post right now. We just, I thought I was gonna shoot a piece of it and let it stand alone, but I realized now I'm just gonna shoot the whole thing. And then the pandemic happened, obviously. And I just locked down a new location. The pandemic happened and I was like, well, here we go again. Obviously with to shoot another movie. Now I'm back. So it's like, all right.
Man, I had to go shoot another movie.
Things are gonna look different. Stop. Obviously it's gonna look
I had to shoot another movie.
No, what I'm saying is, Jay, what I'm saying is nothing's easy anymore. Like, it's great to be able to shoot a movie, but it's like hard to just move about because of the pandemic. So it's like you can't bounce here, bounce there, and like move like you used to. So anywho, back to now, it's kind of like, I don't know. The pandemic is obviously making things very difficult. So, it's gonna look different, but I'm hoping to get that thing done sooner than later.
Okay.
Because, we got to get that thing into the world so people can see it, pitch it, want to buy it, want to green light it.
Come on, girl.
We trying. Oh, yeah, shout out to Zainab Johnson. Zainab in it.
I think you're muted.
Oh, my bad. I'm funny. That was funny. For Jeremy. Oh, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. So your top 3 comedians.
Oh, come on, man. No order. I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble. I don't want to say nothing.
I'll die, man. Come on.
Jeremy lives.
You gonna hurt no feelings.
This is hard, y'all. Okay. No order.
No order.
Eddie Murphy. Robin Williams.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a split because he's an actor, comedic actor, and he did stand up at one point, but bear with me here. Because this is not easy. Shoot. I already put Whoopi out there, but to give something new. This isn't right, y'all. I don't know. Let me just put out just go on and put Bernie Mac out there.
Okay. Nah, that's a pretty dope little.
That's hard. Because I didn't have any women there, but there should be.
Why you say so get you in trouble?
You know, because everybody got a problem with everything. Duh. You got a problem with everything. Why did you say Robin Williams? Why didn't you say?
Let's see what the comments say.
That's it.
Yeah, so
but yeah, I would say that's pretty solid.
Tell us about Crack 'em Up Thursdays.
Crack 'em Up Thursdays. Now that is a whole vibe. Crack 'em Up Thursdays. Michelle Murdoch. Shout out Michelle Murdoch. Crack 'em Up Thursdays is one of the longest running stand-up comedy shows hosted in the world famous Comedy Store in the Belly Room. It is a showcase of sorts of up-and-coming comedians and seasoned comedians. So it's a great mix of newcomers, people who are coming up, and you know, Dave Chappelle might do a drop-in. That's happened many times before. Yeah, and it was and has been a gem for me and so many other comedians, you know, dropping in, you know, if it's a drop-in or if you're on the lineup, you know, getting the work material and really getting a raw sense of what's going on with your material. I think pretty honest. Yeah, man, it's a community, it's a family, you know, it's great. It's just something that you can always look forward to. I had the pleasure to host a podcast for some time, which was great. I learned so much. Shout out Butta B, Max. Yeah, it's a family, man. I learned so much from being in the show, being off the show, being just around the show, working in the show somehow, you know, obviously working with, you know, Dell, you know, meeting so many comedians for the first time and connecting with them. So, you know, I wish that I had learned about Crack 'em Up earlier in my career and had the courage to do it earlier in my comedy career, but I'm glad when it came around, it came around.
Who's your favorite sketch comedian?
Oh man, sketch? Jeez. You know, obviously Dave Chappelle's sketches are truly incredible, but Key and Peele.
Shame on you.
It's hard. They both.
Shame on you.
What happened?
We lost her, man. It was that powerful. The question was so powerful.
She said, you know what? Peace.
She peaced out on her. Let's see if she pops back. Okay, here she is. She's back.
Guys.
You bonked out on us. The question was so powerful, man. You bonked out.
It's the headphones, man. Apple, I blame you. Wait, what was the question?
Your favorite sketch comedian.
Oh yeah.
And you were saying those blasphemous words of Key and Peele.
Okay, because they're both great for their own reasons. Okay, but actually, it's hard, man. I'm not even gonna compare them because they're so different. Key and Peele have like the UCB style writing. Dave Chappelle was kind of like in his own world, but obviously follows the same pattern rules. But Key and Peele, they're just silly. I love their Obama sketch. Come on. You know what, too? Because they really go full character. Their sketches are so great because, they go full character. Like they got that money to get into costume. Like they do full VFX, special effects, like makeup. Like they go all the way. But also, Childish Gambino's group, Derek Comedy, they were funny too.
Oh, really?
They're really funny. Yeah. If you haven't checked them out, Derek Comedy, they should be on YouTube somewhere. Mm-hmm. But they have like that highbrow, like intelligent comedy. Dave Chappelle, is funny. When I was young, I didn't get like all the jokes, and then I got older, and I was like, man, some of the stuff went over my head. I had no idea. Like seriously, but like Key and Peele, I feel like they have like a nice fresh take on like, obviously being inspired by Dave Chappelle and the founding sketch fathers before them.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle was like, I had to watch Key and Peele do my show every week.
That was fun. You said that was very funny.
That was hilarious. But you know what? I felt like they held their own, man. But to be fair, Dave was gone. Dave was on his hiatus. I think.
Look, man, that's hater talk. They are different.
He was on his hiatus, I think, at that time. They filled the slot and they did what they needed to do, and I loved it. It was
funny. Look, love Dave Chappelle. Hey man, no legends above being a hater. That was hater talk. Key and Peele is funny in their own way. Dave Chappelle didn't create that format because Richard Pryor's show was doing the format. NBC made him do that format, which SNL copied that and started making that their format. But look, Dave, love you to death, but that was hater talk. It don't matter. His show is still special. It's way more special. Dave Chappelle's show way more special than Key and Peele, but they were great.
Hey, have you seen the Key and Peele sketch where they're playing grandmas in a church?
Yeah.
And they're like talking to the devil. And like if you guys haven't seen that, please do yourself the favor and watch Key and Peele. It's probably gonna say church sketch or devil in the church sketch or something.
So with all this that we've talked about with the pandemic and whatnot, you going down to Hotlanta, hanging out in Hotlanta, shoot movies. Where do you see social interaction in the next 2 years?
I'll tell you where social interaction is in Atlanta right now. It's popping. People are socially interacting now, and they're not going to wait 2 years. I'll tell you that. Okay, period. In 2 years, it's such a weird thing to think about. Like I said, even we were discussing earlier, like Cornbread and like live shows and stuff. Like we were so like, what's gonna happen to live theater? What's gonna happen to shows? I just saw the Hollywood Improv was like, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come to a show. I'm like,
oh really?
Well, is that backyard comedy? It is. Yeah, they said that. They said that if you're not vaccinated, you cannot come to the club.
You know what? Comedy clubs are over anyway.
They said argue about it in the comments.
Nah. The same way people have had to hook up at the DMV, the same way people had to hook up at Disneyland, same way people had to hook up at the airport, fools gonna have to hook up on them vaccinations.
No, they're already cracking down on it. They're already warning people that they're already doing that. So you know what they're gonna do? They're going to more than likely put a seal on it, like that's on your license, that reflective seal. Because right now it's just a car. Anybody can do that. All you need to do, go to the dollar store, get one of them cardboard papers, cut out the dimensions with an X-Acto knife. If you're gonna print it up and make it look exactly like it with the right fonts, or if you're gonna do a Xerox scan, just anyway, don't do it.
That's a huge infringement upon our rights. You know what I mean? That's just crazy that they didn't go that far, but it is what it is. But
I feel like it's I don't know, man. It's such a tricky topic. I feel like I'm gonna use, it's against my spiritual religious beliefs. And see how far that get me.
Yeah.
Until they're like, girl, sit down. But I'm just confused why they were giving an empty shot at the beginning. That's all. I'm not gonna get into no conspiracy talk.
placebos. Yeah,
I ain't even gonna fuel it. But we saw it. We saw the video. They went like this. They didn't press.
You
they
mean
did not.
Video?
In the beginning, yeah, they went like this and tapped it, acted like, but they did not. They did not empty that syringe. We saw it. You went like this. You didn't press it down. Like everybody kept saying, "What? Why didn't they? What is this?"
We also saw that lady pass out, but let's just forget about that.
But a lot of people are seen to be okay and reacting okay. But I'm just I gamble with certain things, but putting things in my body is not something I like to gamble. So,
real quick.
Anyway,
tell us about work ethics. Sorry.
Oh. That is a podcast that Jeremy and Simonton and myself all co-hosted. And it was good. We had some episodes on there. I think we took them down. Yeah, I had some off the handle moments talking about subjects that might have people like. Because at that moment I was just like,
Hey, we were wilding, but really that content was good. It was good content. It was
we did a good job. But you know what it was? I realized that during that era, that's when I realized that I had to like learn how to not allow things to like affect my energy. Because remember Trump, I think, was in the primaries.
Yes.
And it was really affecting me. But this is a lesson that I've carried up until last year. Last year, it really hit. Because like with the riots and stuff going on, it happened again where I was like so affected. And it was like really fucking with me really badly. And, it was like on some Fred Unplugged shit where I'm just like, I gotta take a break. This is too much. But during that time, it really was affecting me. I was getting so worked up. Instead of just finding that balance of being passionate, but also still maintaining myself to articulate a thought. But I was just so worked up in the passion. But, you need the passion, but you also have to be able to like articulate and communicate what you're feeling and thinking. But I still think what we did was great. It was a great, like, we had a routine going. We had like, it was good.
It was, like I said, when I listened back, or just, the people who were like listening to us, it was like, they'd be like, y'all are entertaining.
We had some funny stuff. I liked our chemistry. Somebody asked me about our stuff before. They were like, are y'all gonna do Tino?
Valentino? That's
Cousin
funny.
Tino.
Yeah.
Cousin Tino, he hit me up like not too long ago and was like, are y'all gonna do the podcast or what? He was like, are you and Sip still doing the podcast? What's going on? I was like, hey man.
Yo,
I don't know.
Valentino, he's the watcher. We're gonna have him on too. He knows what's hot. Like, honestly,
is he still making music? I'm like, where is he at? Where's his manager at? Like, how do I get in contact with Tino?
Man, I feel like when he says something, it's always low key, but it's like the most important information you need at that moment. It's crazy. I can't tell you how many times he dropped something on me. Like he'd be like, yeah, you ever submit to like late night? And I was like, no, never. He said, yeah, I think you should. And then next thing you know, it'd be like this late night audition and the writer's package, all this stuff. I'm like, how you know that? Like, he'd be like, yeah, the guys was talking about you. I was like, really? Like, yeah, they was like, man, I wish I could get on that show. Like, how did he headline it? No, I'm like, how do you? I mean, and he just drop it. He'd be like, well, whatever. Like he is.
I love Tino. But Cousin Tino's got such great energy, man. I will always love to create and co-create with him. Always. Absolutely. I appreciate you for bringing him around. I was like, who this talented brother right here? What's going on? But yeah, he's dope. He's really dope. But yeah, man, we have a whole thing in the archives. That was a good
Absolutely.
time.
Yep,
That was
yep.
actually before I started doing improv at UCB. That was like right around the time I started doing improv. That was a lot of comedy cocktail going on. So stand up podcast, starting to do improv classes, a lot going on. Where did the time go?
I'm gonna slide one more in here. Tell us how you got the nickname Young Sauce.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are really coming with these questions today, man. Okay. All right. So this is the honest to God truth. This probably circa 2016 or whatever. And, you know, I'm notorious for taking my own pictures and just like recreating myself, creating a look and just whatever, right? Expressing myself. So I took some pictures of myself and posted it. And one of them I was like editing around and I was like, man, this kind of looks like an album cover. And then I put the little thing at the bottom, the explicit content, and I like put my name on it. And I was just like, this is kind of cool. I was like, putting these photos on. I was like, this looks like a low key like bohemian like album cover. So I sent it to a couple homies and I was like, you know, if I drop this mixtape, you listening or not? And so, you know, everybody's like giving me their feedback, like, oh, it's a cool picture. Da, da, da. So I sent it to one of my homies who actually is a rapper. I sent it to him and I was like, yo, would you listen to my album if I drop one? And he was like, yeah, I would. And he was like, but what's your rap name? And I was like, I ain't got one. And he was like, Young Sauce.
Hey.
And I was like, I guess it's kind of got a little something to it. So it's super like it was nothing that I thought of and it kind of stuck. So yeah, it just kind of stuck. And now some people just say sauce. They don't even say, they just like sauce. Young Sauce, the meaning of it, who knows? But that's just what he came up with, and that's what he gave me. It's just kind of like when someone christens you with like a name and they christen you with like that thing. I was like, all right. So I accepted it. And you know, it kind of became, I realized that it did kind of become like an alter ego. Like, that was my ankle pop, I'm sorry. Joints. So went to the chiropractor this morning. He just like, yeah. So like, I'm still like cracking. But yeah, like that, I realized like it does kind of give me like this alter ego that I guess I never identify with. But there's a project that I'm working on just like on my own, something that'll come out later. And I realized, I was like, oh, there is an alter ego. Cause like Young Sauce, she be turning up. Like she's super energetic and
that's what be coming out at your parties. You've had some of the best Hollywood parties. like
that's key. Exactly who comes out. And it's weird because like I know when it happens, and when it happens, it's like it's a takeover, man. Like I'll be normal and I'll be trying to dance and I'll be like, I cannot, like I'd be like, all right, like, and I'm just like normal Meg, like I'd be like, okay, I might be a little, miss a beat, might be a little off beat. And it's like, as soon as I like really feel like this takeover, like most of the time my eyes close and I just like, I feel this like takeover. And then it's like, at that point, it's like, I don't even feel like I have control. It does feel like an alter ego. But even in my day-to-day, right? Like I'll be calm Megan, da-da-da, and then something happens and I'll just have to be, and I'll be like,
OG Sauce on.
Yeah, like who are you talking to? Who are you actually talking to? Like, do you not see me in my own space? And then and then once it's done, it's like, oh man, I'm tired. Let me get to the house. You know, it really do feel like two sides where I'm like, sometimes wonder, like, I don't know how I'm gonna brand myself. How do I brand myself? Because one part of me is very, 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 very laid back. Sometimes too laid back, like very laid back. And the other side is very turned up and sometimes too turned up. So there is some truth to the sauce, I guess. But, if you know me, you know me, and you will call me Sauce. Some people just call me Sousa. Some say Seuss. I feel like those are in the same Sousa, Seuss, Sauce. It's like the same. Anyway, you get it. So shout out to Eric McGowan.
Hey.
If you're out there listening, EMAC, EMC squared. That was one of his rap names. E equals MC squared, EMC squared. Anyway, I think it changed. But yeah, he gave me the name Young Sauce. So stuck around, man.
Dope. So you got anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to tell people to look forward to coming up in the near future? Your social media tags?
Sure, I will. I'm going to shout out Jamie Foxx, Tiana Paris, John Boyega, Joelle Taylor, and Anthony Rettenmeyer. The dream team on They Clone Tyrone. I was so happy to work on that. Coming to Netflix probably next year. That's the project I was working on in Atlanta. And man, life-changing experience. But something I do want you guys to look out for. Shout out to Baron Davis. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. Shout out to David Arquette. Shout out to Jenna Caval. Shout out to Haha Davis. Shout out to Scruncho. Shout out to Godfrey and everybody else in the project. If I may be missing anybody.
Pretty powerful project.
Tiny Lister. It's a lot of people in this movie. Yes, we have yet to confirm if it was his last film or not, but yes, that movie, Domino, Battle of the Bones, is hitting theaters June 11th this summer. Baron Davis's directorial debut.
Whoa.
So y'all gonna see a girl up in it. That's all I gotta say, man. So please support. Please support. You can find my social media, yo_Megs. That's Yo Megs. You'll see all the links, link in my bio, all the information to those things I just said. So, hey man, I'm out here trying to get my follower game up like everybody else, you know. I ain't rushing it though. It's cool, you know. Shout out to my 9K, 100K. One day we gonna be at 10,000.
That's coming soon.
It's okay. Look, I'm not even impressed. I'm just like, look, I fucks with y'all fucks with me. I love seeing this gradual growth. You know, it means a lot to me. So I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you guys for having me. This was really fun.
This was educational, and I appreciate the both of you guys for reeling me in and having me understand. You know what? You know, Whoopi Goldberg, she was that forerunner. You know, no, she was.
I love Greg. Greg is like, I was not ready for this whirlwind. I did not know.
I mean, this is
double thing.
I can see Greg over there like, Lord, I was not ready.
Jeremy's like, yeah, they just didn't get it. And I'm like, nah, you guys are here, and we're climbing in altitude. You guys are already at cruising level, and we're climbing.
It's okay, man. Everybody's got their own speed, baby. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. We can all take our time the way that works for us, man. So if I'm ever moving too fast or doing too much, you tell me, and I will always make time to make sure that, you know, everybody's feeling caught up on the same page. And that's on Mary Had 2 Lambs.
Well, if I'm in your presence, I'll just holler out saucy. How about that? You know what I'm saying? I just come up out of nowhere and say saucy.
I will respond. I will respond accordingly.
That's right. And you, Jeremy, you got anything you want to shout out? Anything coming up we need to check out?
May 13th and the 30th. I'll be at Comedy Chateau. I got other stuff I can't think right now. But yeah, Comedy Chateau, doing stand-up. But I just want to say, it was really good seeing you. I'm glad you're healthy and you're killing. I had a chance to see you on a couple of things, and I was just like, oh man, we gotta bring it back together. So,
Thank you.
Always a
No,
pleasure.
this was a good this was a great refresher to, our energy that we always share. We've been through it all for a long time. So, this is always obviously nice to see you and to meet you, Greg, because you're here, and Jeremy, you're down here. So that's why.
It's different for us.
In case you're wondering why I'm doing this. But no, it's always a pleasure to see you, man. You always on your grind. If it's one thing Jeremy gonna do, is be on his mother freaking stuff. Okay. So thank you for continuing to do that and be that. It helps me whenever I'm, dipping in, dipping out. You always the first person I call, like, I'm back.
This is very true.
Do I not? I'll be like, I'm back. Where are you?
Matter of fact, I honestly think last time we seen each other, I think it's been a while. I think that's when we was in New York. I think that was the last time. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
I think so. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Nah, I don't know. We'll come back. We'll verify that.
Okay.
We always take pictures. Lost.
We always take pictures.
You said Jeremy just lost.
What you mean?
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just international, multi-state, bouncing state to state.
He was working, I was working. You just was working.
It was.
Because
anytime I'm in New York, we always check in to see if we're there, because I know, you be bouncing through there too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, dang, man, let's connect in real life. I'm around. Back.
Let's go.
I'm back.
And so it was a pleasure meeting you, Megan. And go easy on LA. You understand me? I'm not going into that B-roll conversation, but go easy on this city, man. This is, all right. You know what I'm saying? We understand.
I don't know, man. LA is dry, man. This is dry. Like, I need a flower. I need a raindrop. I need something. It's just dry. It's just the palette is so brown for me.
It's just something.
It's the gray. It's the overcast for me. The brown, the gray palette for me. It's the dust for me. It's the downtown LA for me.
Shame on you. But you'll be here for a couple of days, and we'll get you worked back into where your mind need to be instead of where your mind is right now.
I know. I'm definitely big time cheating on LA with Atlanta right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Enjoy yourself. Sorry, LA. Don't be upset.
Look, I feel like I have no commitments to these states or cities, so I'm just gonna keep starting out. Okay, and figuring out where I really want to live. Okay, because LA is all right. I guess I'm tired of the city. I want to be where the suburbs are. I want to be where I don't hear motherfucking air traffic all night. Somewhere around where I can get some. Oh, what is that called? Sleep. Anyway. I'm gonna take it easy for now in LA, but y'all kind of on my bad side.
I just had to bring that to your attention, just briefly. You know what I'm saying? Just briefly.
I'm gonna give LA another year.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
No, that's fair.
I'm gonna give another year if things turn around. If I feel like okay, but Atlanta, where you at though?
Well, thank you both of you. This has been Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV. Peace.